look at me too. How about that, to make it easier. I'm the Director of Visitor Experience here at TomKat Ranch. I've been on site since 2005. I have the pleasure of living and working on the ranch, so I live about a mile over as the crow flies on the west side of the ranch. This is a 1,800 acre ranch that is an educational foundation, a working cattle ranch. My piece of the ranch is, the ranch has 3 initiatives: Gathering for Action, Fork to Farm, little play on words there, with our food systems, meaning that the consumer has control over our food systems. And then regenerative ranching, which will be, you'll hear from Mark a little bit later, and he'll be taking you on the field walk, and you'll be hearing about our cattle program, our grass-fed feed program, and we now have about 150 goats on the ranch that we're using for grazing as land management on the ranch here. So Mark will follow you on that. Also, one thing that we do a lot here is we have a lot of partnerships in science. Point Blue Science has been part of our relationship for the past, dozen years or so. And it started out as land management for bird species preservation on the ranch. Back in the day, this property used to just be all mowed. And 75% of the birds in San Mateo County here in this are ground nesters. So once we stopped grazing, and it's been really cool to see over the last, I don't even know how many years, 10 or 15 years now, the number of bird species, the amounts of them through mist netting and tagging birds has changed because of these practices of grazing rather than mowing and growing hay. So that's been a really cool thing that I like to share with people. Point Blue Science has very much changed a little bit where they're working with us, where they have more into soils, where they have rangeland management. So that is our main focus on working with Point Blue as of now. And you'll hear from Haley in a little bit, who is our science coordinator with Point Blue. She worked on our cattle team for years, and she's just the real deal that has been out on the ground and can tell you so much about the ranch. So then that brings me to Gathering for Action. And Gathering for Action is you guys, but we do a lot of events. We are not open to the public. We are an educational foundation, as I mentioned, but we do host scientists, philanthropists, legislators, farmers, ranchers, schools, so probably about 45 to 50 gatherings a year that we do here. So we have a pretty lofty program. The other thing that we'd love to highlight with the Gathering for Action program is food. My favorite part of this whole journey. We're really fortunate here within this area that we can, during the event season, we use local chefs, buy directly from local farms, and we pretty much are in a 10-mile radius around the area of food producers and for the food that we serve to visitors when they, come for these gatherings on the ranch. Yeah, so that's just kind of a real 5-cent overview. But does anybody have any questions before we get going on our day? So you guys enjoy your lunch, and then Haley's going to come up in a little bit and chat with you, and then at 1 o'clock we'll meet up with Mark and Haley and get you out on the land.
You ever thought about trying to get bison livestock here?
Bison? That would be a really, really great question for Mark, who is also our cattle manager. Yeah, I know back in the day, it was actually elk that was thought of, but that would require, because they were here at one time, but like 10-foot high fences, the entire, and honestly, I don't know if 1,800 acres is enough land for them. So we do have about 800 acres of grazing land that we do use for the cattle. Because as you can see, this is very, very steep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, good question though. Ask Mark.
Are you ever open to the public or no? Never.
We are 2 community events a year that we will put on. Part of our programming with all the other that I mentioned is we have a lot of activity that we love to do with our local community. And then our wider community also. But Kathy Webster, who isn't here today, but she manages our food systems programs. We've done a ton of work with the local schools. And she's working on another project that has to do with getting really healthy food into institutions as well as hospitals for better health for people. So in the bigger picture of the ranch, the owners of the ranch, also Kat Taylor, was really impactful in the bill that passed in California for the No Child Left Behind, where all kids get school meals. So now what her and her team are working on is to make sure it's healthy meals for the kids, not just packaged meals. So Kathy, who's on our team, does a lot of work with that. Yeah.
Do you guys work with like the Ohlone or the Mutsun tribes around here, or do like works offer to them?
We work with, so that's a great question. Who does the most amount of work on the coast with the tribes is Pie Ranch. We do have a connection, and we've spent a lot of time trying to figure out and talking to the tribes of which tribe was in this land. And there's a lot of controversy with that.
Between the two, yeah.
Yeah, the Ramatash, the Ohlone, and there's another one that so we do have a tribe member that comes out on the land, and she does these really amazing basket weaving classes through Cabrillo College. So she's here every 2 months, brings a group of students, and so that's our strongest and most direct connection right now.
Nice.
Just curious, why aren't you open to the public? Just because of the sheer volume of people?
Because we really focus on, we have a really strong focus on the educational programs that we are sharing. And we are a team of only with our apprentices of about 20 people for 1,800 acres. So we have not decided to expand in that way. Yeah.
Not enough logistics.
A lot of logistics. That would be a lot of staffing, and we have a pretty direct focus. And it's been really cool over the last dozen years working with the ranch director, creating this gathering program. And every year we were like, what are we going to focus on this year? And we, very much learned that the need in the world was what we focus on. And for instance, the last 2 years, we've just had so much work and requests to work on climate, because it's just here and now, and we need to be doing this. But the soil is the core. Soil is the core of everything we do. Yeah.